I think most humans have in them the capacity to commit murder. It is not because...
No, we don't, Richard.
They choose not to, not because they are morally superior, as they so commonly claim, but because they are imprisoned in a web of responsibilities, commitments, beliefs, and sentiments.
Richard.
And that would render murder an absurd gamble or ridiculous self-destruction.
August 31st, 1985. At 8:30 in the morning, a man walks into a convenience store in East Los Angeles. He picks up a newspaper and sees his own face staring back at him. For 14 months, this man had moved through California like a phantom, breaking into homes while families slept, leaving behind pentagrams and bodies. The newspapers called him the Night Stalker. The police called him the most dangerous man in America.
I don't care what he said, I need eyes on Miller right now.
His name was Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, I'm still here. Find him.
What happened next, in the streets of that East LA neighborhood, would become one of the most dramatic captures in criminal history. Not by police, but by ordinary citizens who refused to let a monster escape. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning. Back to a troubled boy in El Paso, Texas.
We have late breaking news regarding the Night Stalker. The violent intruder has now claimed 10 victims across Los Angeles, prompting a massive manhunt by local authorities.
Sir, I need you to fill this out completely. We are completely out of 9mm.
Just give me whatever ammunition you have left. I have to protect my family.
This yarn connects the last 3 victims. Look at the timeline here.
And they all match the same profile. We're looking at a serial.
Richard Ramirez was born on a leap year, February 29, 1960. The youngest of 5 children in a working-class Mexican-American family in El Paso, Texas. By all accounts, young Richie was shy, quiet, but something was already wrong. His father was a violent alcoholic who beat his wife and children in fits of rage. To escape, young Richard would sneak out at night and sleep in the local cemetery among the graves. But the real damage came from his cousin Miguel. Miguel had just returned from Vietnam, a decorated Green Beret, a war hero. He was also a monster. Miguel bragged to 12-year-old Richard about the atrocities he'd committed overseas, showed him photographs of women he had tortured and killed. Richard later said he found them fascinating. And then, when Richard was just 13, he watched his cousin murder his wife with a gunshot to the face. After that, Richard Ramirez was never the same. He dropped out of school, started using drugs, and in 1982 he boarded a bus to Los Angeles. He was 22 years old, and the devil himself couldn't have designed a better predator. June 28, 1984. Glassell Park, Los Angeles. 79-year-old Jenny Vinca was sleeping in her apartment. She never woke up. Ramirez had cut through her window screen, entered her home, and committed an act of violence so brutal that even hardened detectives struggled to process the scene. It was his first confirmed kill. It would not be his last. But here's what made Ramirez different from other killers. He had no pattern. Serial killers typically have a type, a preferred victim, a methodology. Ramirez attacked everyone: men, women, children, elderly couples, Asian, white, Hispanic. He didn't care. He used knives, guns, hammers, his bare hands. He would break in through unlocked windows and doors. Sometimes he'd attack multiple homes in a single night, miles apart, and at nearly every scene he left his signature, a pentagram, drawn on walls, sometimes on his victims. By the summer of 1985, the attacks were accelerating. March, April, May, June, July, August. The body count kept climbing. Los Angeles was paralyzed with fear.
Behind the yellow tape, investigators are working tirelessly. This latest attack confirms the fears of many that the walk-in killer will indeed strike again.
Gun sales skyrocketed. Hardware stores sold out of locks. And people stopped sleeping with their windows open, even in the brutal summer heat. Meanwhile, 2 detectives were working around the clock to find him.
Maybe 6 feet.
Gil Carrillo was young,
Scar above his left eye,
a rookie with a
and he was
hunch
wearing
that one man
denim
was
jacket.
behind crimes that
I
seemed
couldn't see the
totally
car
random.
clearly.
Frank Salerno was a legend, the detective who had solved the Hillside Strangler case. Together they noticed something no one else had: a footprint, size 11.5. Avia sneakers. The same print at crime scene after crime scene. They were getting close.
This composite sketch released today bears a striking resemblance to the Valley Intruder.
Keep watching until the police arrive.
The investigation was gaining momentum. But then disaster struck. San Francisco Mayor Dianne Feinstein, in an attempt to calm public fears, held a press conference and revealed critical details about the evidence, including the distinctive shoe prints. Ramirez was watching. That night, he drove to the Golden Gate Bridge and threw his Avia sneakers into the bay. But the killer had made a mistake. He'd stolen a car during one of his attacks, and despite wiping it clean, he missed one fingerprint. On the rearview mirror, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department had just installed a new computerized fingerprint system, state-of-the-art. It only contained records of people born after January 1960. Richard Ramirez was born February 1960. By exactly 1 month, his print was in the system. On August 30th, 1985, the Sheriff's Department made a decision. They released Ramirez's mugshot to the public. At the press conference, they spoke directly to him. "We know who you are now, and soon everyone else will. There will be no place you can hide." The next morning, Ramirez walked into a liquor store, saw his face on every newspaper, and ran. He sprinted across 6 lanes of freeway traffic, tried to steal multiple cars, attempted to carjack a woman named Angelina de la Torre in her own driveway. But this was East Los Angeles, and the neighborhood fought back. Angelina's husband, Manuel, grabbed a metal fence post and struck Ramirez in the head. When Ramirez tried to run, Jose Burgoyne and his sons chased him down and tackled him to the pavement. By the time police arrived, the Night Stalker was sitting on the curb, bloodied and beaten, surrounded by the very kind of ordinary people he had terrorized for over a year. He looked at the officers and said, "Thank God you came. I'm the one you want."
This isn't exactly high-end merchandise, is it?
And this diamond looks familiar.
Hey, I don't know anything about that. Just give me the money.
Rick handled the jewelry, yeah, but the buyer, Ramirez, his real name is Miguel. You got that? Miguel.
All right, listen up. He's been identified. Mobilize immediately.
We have a positive ID. Move all available units to the target location now. We need the public's help on this.
We can't compromise the investigation, Detective. It's too soon!
We're losing time.
We are taking decisive action to address the situation in the Mideast.
Mr. Secretary, what about the hostages?
Can you confirm the reports?
All units, still negative on Ramirez at the departure gate. Keep watching the crowd.
Stop him! He just robbed the store!
Hey, wait, those are mine.
Meet me later tonight, same place.
Okay, but you have to be careful. He's home.
He won't tell us what happened.
Did anyone call his parents?
We already did. They're on their way.
We finally caught him! We can walk the streets again!
The scene here at Holenbeck remains chaotic as the crowd waits for a glimpse of the captured suspect. Police are struggling to maintain order.
Detective Carrillo, is this the end of the case?
How does it feel, Frank? Did you get the right guy?
Will there be an arraignment tonight?
Detective Carrillo, is this the end of the case?
How does it feel, Frank? Did you get the right guy?
Will there be an arraignment tonight?
The trial of Richard Ramirez became a circus. It took 6 months just to select a jury. The case was so notorious, so saturated with media coverage, that finding impartial citizens seemed almost impossible. And Ramirez, he loved every minute of it. He flashed devil horns at the cameras, drew pentagrams on his palm, and held them up for photographers. He shouted "Hail Satan" at the gallery, but the evidence was overwhelming. 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, 14 burglaries, the testimony of survivors, the forensic evidence, the matching fingerprints, ballistics, and bite marks. His own decayed teeth became evidence against him. Bite marks on victims matched his dental records perfectly. Throughout it all, Ramirez showed no remorse. He smirked at victim testimony, made eyes at female fans who sent him love letters, the groupies who inexplicably found a serial killer attractive. On September 20th, 1989, the jury returned with their verdict: guilty on all counts. The sentence: death in the gas chamber, 19 times over.
Did you do it? Tell us, did you commit the crime?
What is your client saying about the evidence? Will there be a verdict today?
When asked if he had anything to say, Richard Ramirez smiled his rotting smile and said, "Big deal. Death always went with the territory. See you in Disneyland."
And that's when I realized he wasn't gonna stop. I thought it was over. But then I found the strength to fight back.
As you can see on the board, the phone records directly contradict his testimony regarding the night of the burglary.
As you can see here on the odontogram, the impression clearly matches the defendant's unique maxillary arch.
The jury is still out, but sources say the testimony today was explosive. We are waiting for the judge's decision.
It's an unprecedented scene here at the court.
So you're saying the defendant was present at the scene despite his earlier testimony?
On the charge of murder in the first degree, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. On the second count, we find the defendant guilty. On the third count, guilty.
We find the defendant guilty on all counts.
Therefore, having considered all the evidence presented, the court finds you guilty on all counts. Bail is hereby revoked.
The jury has heard the truth, and I am confident that justice will prevail. Thank you.
How could you do this? You deserve to rot in hell!
We're satisfied with the outcome. This brings closure to the victims and their families. We'd like to thank the jury for their service.
Richard Ramirez spent 23 years on death row at San Quentin prison. He never showed a moment of remorse. He got married in prison to a woman named Doreen Leoy, who had written him over 75 love letters. They divorced after DNA evidence connected him to the murder of a 9-year-old girl, a crime committed before his known spree even began. In the end, the gas chamber never got him. On June 7, 2013, Richard Ramirez died of complications from B-cell lymphoma. He was 53 years old. The families of his victims were denied the closure of an execution. But perhaps there's something fitting about the Night Stalker dying alone in a hospital bed of natural causes, not with a bang, but a whimper. Meanwhile, on Hubbard Street in East Los Angeles, the heroes who captured him still live in the same neighborhood. Ordinary people who proved that evil can be stopped if you refuse to look away. 14 confirmed victims. Countless lives shattered. One summer of absolute terror, and a reminder that sometimes the monster looks exactly like everyone else.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you must consider only the evidence presented in this courtroom.
Confer with his client without the
I don't want to confer with him.
gentleman there, and perhaps he can at least advise Mr. Ramirez of his legal options. The gentleman standing there in front of Mr. Ramirez really have no standing before the court.
They do to me.
At this point, the court is only playing a matter over 2 days. If at that point there is no time waiver, matter would be set for preliminary examination within 8 days. Matter is recessed until October 24th, 8:30 in this court.
8:30 in the morning?
Yes.